the most merciful. I want to give a quick lecture about this fascinating idea that the halls of our ancestors extend into the sky, and what we have all been living for in all views on human reality. There is a hidden accuracy, a hidden common accuracy. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the human species in 2025 finds itself in the presence of a fascinating moment. A moment that is intelligent, but intelligent in accordance to noticing its limits. And so what every human being has mastered so far in this life is a recognition of their limits. And yet, when you notice your limitations, how can you avoid the limitless? The mind of man eventually opens up to that which is beyond its own conclusions. Like these giant doors suddenly open, and those were doors of they were like doors of of a limited belief system. For me, I don't know what it is, but I know that there's a way I'm looking at life that is not purely intellectual. There is something deeper beyond the analysis of what we should or can and will do. It is the mystery of 8 billion humans in this world, scattered in corners of the universe that are hidden to them, that only they see, that nobody else has their eyes, nobody else is occupying the same moment of existence you're existing in. And what is the deeper meaning and implication of reality at all? What is greatness in a changing world, and how far shall the species open its eyes? To smile and not forget about heaven's door, for 8 billion human beings to wonder about. What is that hidden common thing? And the hidden common thing is like looking at the whole species and being like, everybody relax. Just notice how you are giving meaning to this system. The actual meaning the system has far surpasses human capabilities. And so man is not just making, I'm an evolved animal decision. He's making, I'm not just an evolved animal, I am an unknown awareness to reality. And it's an intelligence game. Right now we're existing in the existential sector of being. Ancient traditions have verified that the world is not just this. That perhaps if we are ignorant, this world might just be delusional enjoyment. The self-gratification of a temporary self. So in other words, let's take the idea of soul as who you really are, and we're wondering in some sense, okay, I am a soul in this moment. I am present in this moment. Now, what is the great act? Why has existence brought me here? Why is the geometry of existence presented to me in such a way? Questions no longer a human is asking, but the mystery of cosmic existence, cosmic life is asking. It is a very sophisticated situation we're here, and we have to be careful how much our mind blindfolds us from truth. The task of the modern human being is to wonder about the halls of our ancestors. That means they're like, yo man, where did I come from? Who were my ancestors? How was the past being existing? And what has the modernity forgotten or remembered? All of life seems to be the response of a life force to what it all means. What is right? What is wrong? How can freedom change us? What is the actual clarity we seek? And so why, as a human being, have I come into this moment and as a soul, and I'm like, yo, the halls of our ancestor extend into the sky. The human species was born on earth but never felt it was from there. And so the mystery of reality always stands. What God is the ultimate perfection. A perfection beyond the imperfect imaginative realms of man. That means there is the presence of the original power. I firmly believe this, just like in the same sense, like somebody's in a force and they're like, I feel like there's a creature in our proximity, right? In the same way I sense in this world that truth knows us better than we know truth. That means truth, the original power, is beyond the imperfections of man. We are not just dealing with an extraterrestrial. We're not just dealing with, advanced AI. We're not just dealing with time traveler psychology. We're not just dealing with like transconsciousness psychology and all of this. You see, it's pretty much 8 billion human beings on this earth, and every soul decides how we usher in the future. By the way we choose to live, by what we exactly do, by what we live for while we can. Sometimes I feel duality is a distraction, but this doesn't mean truth is singular. The ultimate truth is singular in the sense of that beyond all. You see, these are powerful equations of the psyche. When a human being acknowledges that this isn't an empty world, that it has a system admin, that there is some sort of, invisible or sometimes visible divine management going on here, that it's not just humanity alone, that it's the display, and we're in some sense, even though we think it's normal, but we're in the battlefields of history. The thing about history is it has always been a battle. Even if you create the most perfect reality, chaos will grows there. It's like strange. Chaos grows in the soil of order, and order grows from the soil of chaos. The halls of our ancestors extend into the sky, meaning that we're pretty much being born and being like, what were they doing? Okay, how does it relate to what's happening now? Okay, what can happen? And then, okay, what is the best thing that can happen? And it's like unleashing your effort on trying to solve the problems of a macro reality. Who knows what the best way to live ever was? We're working with the information we have access to. The human species, at some point, like a maturing being, collective being, it will come to the realization that, okay, this world is really video game-like, and it's really behaving like a simulation. Not only are we simulating subjective meaning upon objectivity, objectivity is simulated for a certain time. Being a human being is not like, yo man, you were just one thing. You were a process. Right now, I don't know if I should treat myself as a noun or a verb for the sake of like communication. I'm like, all right, I'm this noun, guys. You know, and podcasting is the verb. When in reality, if my true nature is, it's like, yo man, am I a drop in the ocean or am I the whole ocean? Do you know, am I just, you know, a sight of a corner of the sky, or am I the sky beyond beginnings and endings, in the sense that not I am truth, but truth was here and that was enough? That man understood that it is the most advanced, honorable thing you can do in a world. Any being who's found in an unknown world, and there is an intelligent interfere, there's intelligence, there's an divine intelligence within a divine surveillance state going on. It's like at that point you kind of relax. And you're like, okay, it's not just humans on a rock in the middle of nowhere, it's humans on a rock in the presence of truth. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about matters that relate to the soul. We cannot expect the body and mind to be satisfied by that which it sees beyond it. This is the nature of being a human being on earth. We look at our ancestors that were buried in the earth, and we look in the sky and we're like, okay, that's where the children will be. What safety means is giving someone opportunity of access to the most advanced intelligence. Just like somebody, it's like, yo man, I'd rather pay for the most advanced computer. I'll be like, yeah, that's understandable, but what if the most advanced intelligence in the moment was kind of strangely yourself, and you were like an antenna, and the range of reality you picked up was your choice? The halls of our ancestors extend into the sky because humanity is just getting started. Our human species is just getting started to notice the sky, and the beauty of the cosmos is gonna like be a meteor shower upon the species, but a meteor shower of brilliance. It would be, in some sense, the entrance of the human species into the celestial living room. That values have been limited to objects, subjects, and these objects and subjects have been limited to the behaviors of cultures, and in some sense nations. And it's as if like, yo man, one kind of behavior is controlling another kind of behavior, but at the end of the day, bunch of energetic, like rhythmic energetic entities are like, yo man, what are we doing here? And this is why I'm like, yo, just try it like a video game. Whoever you are, just for a moment consider that, okay, I am not made of pixels on a screen. I am made of the periodic table of elements. I am right now an organism that is engaging with ways of intelligence that perhaps never has occurred before. You don't understand, even if a person doesn't do anything, it's as if they're being something somewhere. And the somewhere is important. It's like looking at the stars and wondering, like, will we live there one day? And the answer is like gradual steps. There will come a time where we will live in the sky. The rich will live in the sky. In my vision of civilization 2.0 was like this genius strategy I thought I came up with. Like it was something I came up with, like, but more like intuitively, like an archaeologist. Like I feel like it's something I discovered. That the greatest strategy is like getting everybody to live in the sky, and we restore the earth. And then beyond the sky, beyond the atmosphere, we're becoming citizens of the stars, really. That means technically the first humans that go on Mars and colonize there and choose to live there forever, the moment they go on the journey from Earth to Mars, they have become a citizen of the stars. They have seen the value of a cosmic context. This does not mean identifying as terrestrial or extraterrestrial. It just means like, okay, what is the given? So the halls of our ancestors is we will build pillars into the sky. We would probably not call them skyscrapers. We would probably call them star ladders. Massive, giant pillar-like civilized, like structures, infrastructure, like architecture that just goes into the sky. So the halls of our ancestors is where are we gonna live to die, and eventually it's gonna be like, kind of either in a giant pillar or going up to the sky, or we will be living in the sky. You wake up and you're like, what a view, I'm in the sky. Like like that's the only time I would accept to become a professor and teach like in some university or something. If they're like, yo man, it's the first sky city ever built and there's a school there and it's like they've chosen you to be a professor of it, I'll be like, all right, yeah. Entering the celestial living room, it's wondering about how human is the context of human. How identifying with anything in a changing world is like, what are we doing? So there's 8 billion human beings. They're on a planet. Every day they wake up and they're changing. During this time of their existence, they have an opportunity to play out sequences of actions that become their lives. So pretty much really, like if life was a test to me, it feels like, okay, I've been given a moment of being, I'm looking at it. I'm understanding that it's like they've given you like 100 years and they're like, go do whatever you can, and it's like you're gonna be judged on your performance. I'm like, yo man, I don't even know who I am, but they're like, you're gonna be judged on your performance. So it's another way of like, okay, you gotta figure out where you are. And to me, that has been the hidden joy of life, questions that I never stopped asking. What I mean is that my heart always felt at the rooms of my belief like there were such bigger rooms beyond it. The depth of reality will shock a person. We're wondering about the greatness of not one human being. Yo, look at that dude, he's great. Like, what is that? We're looking for the greatness of a species. Do you know what that means? That means one day you will wake up and all wars and crimes have ended, and all the scholars are like, WTF, what is this? How? And they look into it and they realize somehow everybody received a letter from an unknown, just from the unknown, like literally from the unknown. Okay, and the letter said, you are not you. You are how far your species goes. And it's as if all crimes, all hate, everything stops. 8 billion human beings globalized through the context of like, yo guys, we gotta, with the human odyssey, we gotta be classy. That means we're not gonna go like stumbling fools into the evolution of greater truth, you know? Like that would be ridiculous. The species has style, you know, the human species, its style is like, I gotta fucking survive. The style of the human species is like, all right, man, I'm gonna be as much of a good person as long as my survival requires. But survival means you can be ushered down into the realms of beast, which you shouldn't. That means if all the some monks that had, had taken vows of silence could say something, it would be like, you don't have to act in accordance to every thought, just like a museum. You cannot touch our reality. It's like you can see the simulation, but you don't need to touch it. By touching, I mean consciousness identifying with the content, simulated content. Right now, like I'm just saying, like we can all be like, yo, tell the children of the species a happy story. And I'm like, guys, like, what do you want me to say? What happiness in a question mark can we find? The whole point of it is like immediately humanity realizing that the future is important. Anything else said to us is weird. Other than like, if not, like, to care for the future is very important, right? Like if you want to defeat someone, make him forget about the future. Like that's really what it is. But the future is very important because the future is the incredible opportunity to perform in the presence of what it all was. To not fear animating as a being in an unknown world, you know? Like the halls of our ancestors are filled with people we never really knew. But still, it's the hall of our ancestors. What does that mean? That means the human idea is important. And it's also important to realize the limits of the human idea. This doesn't mean people identify as different things. I'm just saying that if we want to play the human game, we have to care for what this is. It's like whatever way you've been offended by the world, you think this is a cruel world, however way the world has treated you, you just have to look at this world and be like, yo, in the future, every person now will not be here, but what they did for the future will be. Strange, isn't it? We're living for lives that it's like we live on into the future, but even though we're not here. Pay attention to this idea that it's not just about an individual human life. The individual human life is like the starting point. To realize the limits of your meaning, to realize that the halls of your ancestors, it's like at one thing we have in common with every other human being that has lived is that we've cared for what will happen. They're like, yo man, how do you have like something equivalent to the honor of a samurai? It's as if realizing that no living king can be better than the crown being on the head of the future. Do you know what that means? I'm trying to wake you up from your own self-simulated meaning into the realization you're in a gigantic unknown event, and we have to figure out a way to assemble humanity. Like, that seems to be the protocol towards the most advanced action. Now, the funny thing is, we don't know what the most advanced action is, but the system admin that administers the system does. And it's like activating the allegiance of the heart to the one and only system admin God, beyond all form, shape, or world-room. And it's like once that's activated, then you come to the mind, and the mind lives for sharp purpose. That means the greatest thing I think a mind can figure out on this planet is envisioning how advanced the future can be and how our decisions will shape it. People think they're not important. People are living lives thinking they're statistics. They don't realize their existence is a force. Your body is life form, your mind is life force. And it's all about what intelligence is the ability of an entity. Am I wrong? Like, I don't know if like we can even categorize people. That person's smart, that person's stupid. I'm like, every person's different and they have different values they're running after. Like, what do we, like, so I'm trying to say that language can simulate enough commonality for the human species to get along. What I mean by this is that this might be strange, but it has to be said. I mean, you are not just a human being right now. You are a being first, and then in your awareness you find your humanness. So I am the presence of the moment, then I'm whatever's in the moment. So when you identify as the presence of your moment, that is the recognition of what is its life is not analytical anymore. It's going in accordance to what is the present in this moment at all. Like, if we started from an empty room, what is the level of activated spirit or soul we find in the moment? How do we measure this thing called life? And people are acting like they figured it out, not realizing the world is changing. And it's more like, what did I do while I was here? And then what was the point of being here? Well, it depended on what you did. And I'm like, yo, is it possible to be the first humans in history by the mere decision of living in a global context? That means they're like, yo, man, we have issues with race, racism and all that. And I'm like, yo, guys, in a cosmic context, it is so small. They're like, how did a species eradicate racism? They just looked at the stars together and understood. There's bigger games to play. Cultures have been limited to the man-made. In the presence of the divine stands all of human history. You don't have a cape and like a costume like Superman, but you are wearing time in existence right now. You are occupying the space-time continuum as a being. What is the value of being anything at all? It took me a while, but I've come to the conclusion If I want to just analyze life, there is no answer. There is no answer to like this event separate to you that your mind is painting meaning in. Like any person who's ever said I dislike someone or I dislike someone, that's just been fucking paint. You're painting meaning. You're extracting meaning from the moment in such a way. And when you reach something you can't solve, if somebody tells you a certain, like, what do you do when you find a problem you can't solve? To be honest, the only thing I've figured out is like you just take a step back and you watch until you see more. You know, that's the point of it really. How far are we seeing it all? Right now, when you wake up as a human being, what activates, like what they say, like purpose gives energy. So what is activating you? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like when you wake up in the day, what is moving you? How is your soul animating as you? And you know what's funny? It's always this sense of novelty where they're like, okay, I am seeing what I am. And that's the fascinating thing. They're like, what was amazing about existing? I'll be like, just noticing it. I was here. Doesn't matter who heard me, but I was here. The stars witnessed my existence. And whether they know or not, we live for them always. We live for the future because they will see much further than we will ever. And they deserve like the most advanced stuff. Like they're like, yo man, like what's an honorable way to build an advanced civilization and like, you know, leave this world? I'll be like, pretty much you like set up the most advanced like toolkit. It's like we can't solve the problems of the future generations, but we can like give them access to like, you know, resources and like vision protocol. You don't understand, like the mind can live so much further than the body that at some point you're like, I don't even know if I can be spiritual anymore. For me, the purpose, I'm saying connected to your species. Like right now, if you go to someone and you're like, hey man, you know, let's all like toast in honor of the species. And people are gonna be like, what? In honor of the species? That's not cool. You know, and those people are blind. They're like, to be honest, they're like bots or something. It's all some quality the human being has. It is honorable exploration of truth. And the truth of it is, we are too intelligent to live in the forest, and we're too intelligent not to live in the sky. We are intelligent right now to update everything. And I'm just being like, yo man, I was born in the boredom period of history. And they'll be like, what do you mean? And I'll be like, everybody was waiting for every person in the species to get bored of how not advanced everything is. And how the mind can fathom that advancement. To me, I'm like, what was the true value though? Somebody could pat you on the back and be like, good job, man. You were a good person. You'd be like, was I? You know? But in reality, it's like, no, you were a noob if you thought you were good and bad. In reality, the souls of heightened awareness really realize they're in the presence of the system, man. It's like, this is strange, but the world has a boss. But it is not a boss. It is the world there's a way out of this simulation. And the way is to, while you're in it, to notice the system admin. and to pull yourself, your soul, towards the clarity of the original power of your world. I am not telling you to find the portal to heaven. I am telling you, you are in the presence of the most advanced power known to existence, in the sense that existence was originally commanded by this being. All of existence. Like, it took me a while to figure it out, but I'm like, that makes so total sense. Like, how do you make sense of the meaningless? Because it was commanded. It was not engineered, designed, perfected. It wasn't like happening like clockwork. It was commanded into being. It means pure being. And I think theologically, at least it's very important to consider God commanded man into existence, commanded man to know instantly all the divine names, and then commanded all manifestation and existence to bow to God's might, not to bow to man, but to bow to God's greatness. Okay? And then there was a moderator that disagreed, and then, anyways, everybody knows the story. So now we are beings that were even commanded to perform and say all the divine names. So what does that mean? That means we are God's creation. Whoa. We are one of God's mightiest creations, that all creation was commanded to bow to God's ability to create it. Do you understand? And I'm like, yo, I think I've been looking at things too small. It's not that I have a soul, but the moment does. The soul of the moment is how it's all returning to the original power. From the original, we stepped out into reality, and we will return to the original. The original is not emptiness. It's the realization that beyond human limitation, it is at the mercy of the system admin. How much you know? That means if somebody's like, what does that mean? I'll be like, that means there's never been a smart or stupid person. The system admin authorizes destiny. There's a system admin here. It's not a person, it's the original power of the realm present here. It's the most advanced idea, and it's just present here. You're like, who am I? What are you in the presence of? And that's when the might of the cosmos. And it's like, let me tell you what's even more fascinating. Most people are in a simulation of natural law. That means natural nature's laws are superior to all manifestation. But as a religious person, there is something superior beyond nature's laws, and it is divine command. Keep in mind, I said we are in a commanded existence. This doesn't mean everybody has to be a commander, I'm saying, but we are in a commanded existence. We are in a certain position. We have to notice the position. We got to see what the best thing we can do from that position. And there's so many things we don't know. Do you know, like sometimes I think about, like, how did these guys back in the day assemble armies? And I was like, okay, it was danger. It's like, okay, our kingdom's under attack. Okay, like assemble everybody. People were like, okay, like how advanced can we be? How far can our soul see? There's 8 billion souls. And there is endless human beings that will enter this system. And the human species is a long odyssey. The human odyssey is long. And in the future it will be different. But now must live in the most advanced way it can. So it's kind of like at some point being like, whoa, I could relax as much as I want, but all of this will end. And what was the best thing I could have done? That means, to be honest, in the afterlife, like if they tell me, are you concerned about your sin? I'll be like, I don't know. Probably there's going to be regret, but I think that I will be more fascinated by, like, please, system admin, show me exactly what the most advanced way I could have lived this life would have been. What was it? And if I can see that, it's as if the yearnings of the lifetime have been satisfied. Why? Because truth is beyond us. And for truth, everything is possible. For the simulated is contained in a certain way. For me, I'm like, yo, who was it? Like Steve Jobs? No. It was Bill Gates, I think, and he's like, yo man, I'll go find a lazy person to find like the quickest way to build something. Like the dude went and found like the laziest designer, and the laziest designer was like, yo man, nobody cares for that. We just have to be able to quickly like click this or something, you know. So it was like he would find a lazy person to discover faster ways of doing something. Okay. And I was like, yo man, our species is kind of lazy, but what would be the fastest way it could do something? And I was like, yo man, for centuries, these human beings have been guided by stories. So now we have to build the next great story of civilization. For me, I thought about this deeply for many nights, and I came to the conclusion that everybody can unite under a quality, not a specific belief or something. That means they're like, what is the point of being human? That we are in the presence of the most advanced, and we can be advanced. Now let's see how advanced we can be. We were God's creation, worthy of manifestation, bowing to God for. And what I find the soul is the original command of the system admin. That means you've been like originally commanded here as a soul. As a soul, and you have to choose. Pretty much you have to choose between a self-simulated hollow meaning, or that which is the original. You know, maybe there isn't that many podcasters talking about it, but there's many moments I have felt divinely powerless. This doesn't mean I have forgotten God or something like that. It's just meant I was like, okay, am I living in the afterlife of my mistake? And at some point, you just, after like many days of waking up on this planet, you're kind of like, man, who am I anymore? What does it mean waking up and being a certain energy level of an acceptance of a worldview? It's strange. It's like we're in the beta version of an advanced civilization. Right now, everybody has to look at life and wonder about what the most advanced state of being is. And it's to be aware of the most advanced and then to do the most advanced before we are no longer in this world room. And guys, this song in the background is from a channel called Dream Ambience, and it's called Arrival, 8 hours of sci-fi ambient soundscape. Here, I'm gonna subscribe to it. It's kind of like just waiting, I'm waiting for a species. I am watching the process. I am noticing all the different types of human beings that exist and what advanced system can unite them. And it's all like, yo man, we won't bow to any king, you know, that's alive. And I'm like, all right, the crown belongs to the future. The king and queen that this human kingdom is for is always the future generations, the unborn future generations wear the crown. They are the true kings and queens, and we, as the living human beings, we are the knights in service of the species. That means once you solve your own problems, the world is waiting. Once you solve the world problems, you come to that point of wondering about what is the most advanced context to the human being. And it's pretty much consciousness being responsible for its original biological form. That means at some point the mind is going to not, it's not like the mind is going to grow bigger or beyond the one body being able to maintain it. Like suddenly cyber lives are simultaneously being lived. Right now, for me, I'm like in some sort of like, you know, cyber, like some cyber booth that I'm just recording. It's like I feel like I'm mailing my voice to the future. To be honest, it's all about wondering how great being human can be. Honestly, it's to think about every person you know, including every person you've seen in media, and just for a moment being like, okay, there's all this existence in this world. What is the point? And then the moment you'll come across the future and you're going to realize why there's futurists here. And then you will become a futurist and be like, okay, because now man can help usher in the designs. We are choosing what they get to see. The people who haven't been born yet. We're choosing what they find, how advanced it was. And how can we survive beyond the ignorance? And it's all finding allegiance. Like, I don't know, but I've made my, I've understood it to the degree where I'm like, not only is there a system admin, anything that happens to the individual is based on the system admin's will. So it means you're not just in a world of praying and like not knowing what's going on. You're in the presence of the Lord of Worlds, the one and only, the source of might and glory. It's not a joke. Religion is like, yo, the original power is present in your worldroom. This species has not lost access to a divine agency. It's been preserved. The prophets succeeded. We cannot forget how our ancestors looked at the world, and beyond the wars of what they thought was truth in it, they came to the greatest conclusion: truth is the unimaginable. And I was like, wow, that's genius. Unite the species through the commonality of an ultimate unimaginable archetype. The system admin actually is present. The system admin means that beyond how natural law is taking place, divine command is moving natural law. That means, like the Matrix, how Neo saw everything as code. I think for us human beings, to see it like that is to suddenly notice existence has been commanded into position. And it's like for the first time noticing how your awareness is and how you have been present in your own presence as a being. The halls of our ancestors extend into the sky because we will find ways of solving problems, and one thing is for sure, we are not a warrior species. We are an explorer species. That means like nations could be at war, and then imagine some diplomat, like some peaceful aliens arrive, and everybody who's fighting was like, yo man, stop the war. You know, there's like extraterrestrial interference in the middle of this global war. And it's like, okay, everybody relax and see what the extraterrestrial has to say. You know what I mean? The event realigns the inferior levels of reality by being a superior level. The whole point of it is that we have had so many human beings, countless, unimaginable actually, of how many different types of human beings and the way they've lived, like how messed up or how correctly. And also realizing how it's a system. Anyways, I think I'll end it here. Because to be honest, the system admin knows. As a human, I'm like, we're limited. All I can say is like, yo, there has always been different ways we could have looked at the world. Thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, the most advanced, the original source of reality, where our presence is found.